Hey there, everyone. My name is Adam, and today we have Fred on. He is from Christmas Light Contractors. All his links are going to be down in the description. Christmas Light Contractors, his Facebook group, his TikTok, all that, his YouTube. Basically, what we're going to be talking about is Christmas lights. And the reason why I'm putting it here on this channel is because us tank people, we use the same exact lights and there's the same exact string that he's using, SPT2 wire, vampire plugs, all this stuff. So we know about this. There's even some party rental companies who take their lights and put them as Christmas lights, but what he does is full-time Christmas lights. So how you doing, Fred?
I'm doing good. Yeah, actually, I do a little bit of tent companies will call me and have me rent out my lights to them sometimes for to put up on the posts and stuff or for weddings.
Let's just talk about this business. Like, what is this business? People are actually paying you to put Christmas lights on their house?
That's how it works. So people think it's a joke, and I people all the time. I've been doing this for 11 years, so I hear all the time, like when people say, "What do you do for a living?" It's like, "I do Christmas lights." They're like, "Well, I mean, what do you do for the rest of the year?" It's like, I mean, I pretty much do Christmas lights most of the year, and they think it's a joke, but it gets bigger every year.
When do you start putting up Christmas lights?
So we started about 2 weeks ago. I'm just actually headed back. We had one of our bucket trucks have some problems today, so I had to go out and meet the guys. But we did 6 installs today, and today's like October 11th. So we've been installing since the last week of September.
Let's get to the right in the beginning. Everyone loves to hear how much you can make doing this. How much can you make doing Christmas lights? Like, what's your average job?
My average job is about $1,400, but to be honest, I'm actually pretty low for the industry, my average, but I started as a real cheap guy. Every year we just get more and more customers, so I can't like do the same rates I used to. I started at like $1 or $2 a foot. Actually, $2 to $3 a foot was pretty regular my first 2 years of business.
Right. What are you at a foot now?
We're probably closer to $8 a foot now, $7, $8 a foot, which I know a lot of people make fun of me for being so cheap, but that's what we can get in the city I'm in.
So you're not targeting, small houses. You're targeting neighborhoods that have a lot of peaks on their houses and kind of big houses, right?
Well, so yes, it's morphed into that. But when I first got into the business, I didn't really understand how it worked, and I did Groupon, which do not do Groupon. But they're like, we're going to deposit money straight in your bank account before you even do the jobs. It's like, oh, really? And so it was a lot of people that I would hang their own lights, and I charged them like $200 or whatever, and then Groupon keeps 40% of that. It was a big joke. But anyways, that was a disaster. That's the wrong way to get into the Christmas light business, but that's how a lot of people do it. They're like handymen. They're doing taking the homeowners' lights, hanging them up, and you're only going to be able to charge $100, $200 to do it that way. So, and a lot of people think it's extra Christmas light money, and that's why they fall in that trap. But I bring my own lights, so I have professional grade lights, which are going to be very hard to find in the big box stores. You just can't get that professional look, like the nice crisp clean lines and everything from a big box store. It's possible, but you really got to know what you're doing. The average stuff they sell there is just junk. It won't it's all twisted and gnarled up. So but anyway, so yeah, and because of that we can charge a premium price because our installs look fantastic. Plus you actually have a business. We rent out our own lights now to the homeowners.
Right. And what's cool about it is your first year, you set up the lights to that house, and then you can throw them in a bin when you're done. And quickly, your second time going, set them up a lot faster, right?
Oh, exactly. So the first year when you do an install, you got to put bulbs in the strands, you got to clip it. It will take almost as long to set up the house as to install it. So the next year you can come and everything's clipped and bulbed, and you can sometimes take the install and end up doing it in half the time. So if it took 2 hours the year before, it may only take an hour the second year.
And there's different kind of clips for different attachment points, like shingles, gutters, all this.
Yeah, the main one we do is the enclosed clip. It's a circle clip that sticks to the bulb, because the first year I got introduced to that, I used to use the same clip that most everyone does, but my clips would be stuck on the roof when I'm pulling down my lights. So I'd have to get my ladders and knock off the clips that didn't come off. So I switched to an enclosed clip, which sticks onto the bulb and won't come off. And it ended up saving me like the previous year before I had that, it would take me about 5 weeks to do all my takedowns, and that turned it into about 2.5 weeks. So it shaved my takedown times almost in half by
Wow.
having the clips not come off the bolts.
So we're talking about Christmas lights, but in some part of the countries, like down in Louisiana, they're big on Mardi Gras. People will keep the lights up, right? And those companies can just go switch out the colors.
Yeah, so Nick, I was just at Nick's training, the jump off like about 3 weeks ago. So he's real big. He makes as much money on the Mardi Gras side as he does actually installing lights for Christmas. But yeah, then he changes out the bulb pattern to a different color. I don't even know what the Mardi Gras color is, but people in Louisiana know what it is.
And then how many of your customers are also like doing Halloween or other holidays?
Honestly, Halloween, I've been doing this for so long that Halloween lights weren't even really a thing. And I know in my own city, some companies are starting to install Halloween lights. I don't really get into that because I'm so busy already installing Christmas lights right now. So I don't have to, to me, I don't make enough money doing a bulb swap where it's worth my time. But yeah, a lot of guys that are newer, they can hang Halloween lights right now. I think that's what, like orange and purple or orange and green, and then come change them out and put the white lights or white and red, green, whatever. But I'm honestly just so busy trying to keep up. Like Halloween is like just I kind of just skip that holiday.
Right, because all right, so say you did someone's house for Halloween, then you have to come back after Halloween and switch the bulbs, and that takes time, but you're not charging that much for it.
Well, most people that do that business model, and it's good for especially new companies that are trying to start out because you can start installing earlier in October for Halloween. But I'm like, I mean, from October 1st, it's like 40 days of just it's trying to keep your head above water, trying to keep up the with the install. So I don't have time to try to do bulb swaps for a discounted rate. Now, people when they're hiring a Halloween or a Christmas light company, they pretty much stop trying to hire you about the first week of December. So most people have already hired someone by Thanksgiving week, maybe the first week of December. After that, they don't want to pay a lot of money to have them up for 2 weeks.
So one of the big things I see a lot of people questioning is like, do you go out and visit every house to like determine how much you're going to put on there and how, figure out how much the quote is?
So every guy's got their own philosophy. So I know the biggest company in the United States has got 400 franchises that do Christmas lights, and they've been featured in Forbes Fortune for one of the top businesses in the U.S. But for under 100K. But anyway, so this is a legitimate business. But they will actually pre-qualify on the phone, and if they can get a customer to agree to a certain price over the phone, then they're going to send a sales rep out and meet them in person. I personally, I can't. Like if it's a 5,000 square foot house, I'll go meet them in person. But anything smaller than 5,000 square foot, I'm going to bid over the phone.
And so I've seen some of your videos where you will go do a Google Street View or have them send you a picture, and then you kind of use the apps on your phone to draw kind of on the picture and show them different options, and then you can also figure out the length you need.
Yeah, so that's the way I train I have people that kind of bid jobs for me now. So I do some of them when I'm a little slower, but as it gets busier, I have to turn that over to my office. What we try to do, you can do Google Earth and you can get pretty good measuring that way. I like to stick with stuff that's very similar on every house. So, like a one car wide garage is about 9 feet wide, or like a two stall garage, usually 16 feet. So then I can take that, and then I can use that to scale for all the gutters and the roof line for that picture that the homeowner sends me, and I can guess about how close I am or how many feet I'm going to need for the roof line.
Right, and is that usually pretty accurate?
It's within about 10%. So, but on the quote, so in my beginning years, I used to put how many feet I was charging the homeowner and what I charged per foot. But then that allows the homeowner to take my quote and go call all the other Christmas light companies and ask how much they charge per foot, or like if for 100 feet of lights, what would you charge? So I just actually put a line item and say, hey, I'm doing this roof line for this price. So they can't. It's hard to price match me.
Right. What do you mean by
Price
roof
shop.
line? Just like one part of the roof, or you just mean the whole thing?
So I do my standard bidding process is the person will call me and say, hey Fred, how's it going? We really would like to get some Christmas lights on our house. We heard that you do that. Is that you guys still doing it? And I'm like, yep. Because most of the people, or a lot of people that call me have already called other companies that are no longer in business. So that's very common in the Christmas light world. So I was like, yeah, I still hang Christmas lights. So then I'll talk with them, chit chat for a few minutes. Like, what are you looking? What kind of designs? And then I'll say, okay, well, like we have $800 minimum. So I'll say, well, so we do start $800, but our average customer is probably closer to 1,400. So just to let you know, is that something you're interested in? If they say yes, then I'll say, okay. So the fast way, if you can send me a photo of your house, and send it, you can either email it to me or you can text it to me, and I will draw on it and I'll color code the different options of different things I think that would look good, and then I will draw on the roof line because like what you just said, the roof line's pretty vague. So I will actually draw on the photo where I'm going to put lights. So I use red usually for the standard option. And then if I'm doing upsells, if it's like the left side of the house, I'll do that, whatever, blue, and the right side of the house, I'll do green, whatever. And then I'll draw on the photo, and then I will send that back to the customer with a different price for every color option. That way, there's no, because we've been in the past where the customers at the end is like, you said you're doing the whole roof line, like, and I'm like, well, the front of the roof, not like the whole house. And they're like, well, that's not the way I understood. So we're real clear when you draw in the picture what we're doing for what price.
Yeah, I've seen those videos. So do people mostly just get white, or do you have to have a bunch of different colors for Christmas?
So it used to be most people went with the warm white because the reason to stay away from cool white unless a customer specifically requests it. But I've had a number of complaints through the years that when I have cool white, so I don't even let it go on my trucks. But people don't like that bluish white. So the warm white comes from trying to color match the incandescent bulbs that used to be a thing like for many years, and now LEDs have taken over. So probably 80% of my customers still go with warm white, but in the last like 2 or 3 years, I'm starting to see more and more people request like different color patterns, like a green, white, white, or a like what's the like red, white, red, white, something like candy cane. But
Right.
yeah, 90% or 80 to 90% of my customers just go with the standard warm white, and that's
Got
pretty much nationwide. The biggest problem people have when they start the Christmas lights, they think that they're charging too much money because there's a lot of guys just trying to scrape together money. I continually get this question all the time. Like people are always messaging me or calling me like you really, how much do you charge? And so I'll tell them, it's like, okay, so, and then they get to keep the lights. It's like, do not let the homeowners keep the lights because they're going to find Chuck in a truck the next year. Maybe not the next year. Maybe they like you, but at some point down the road, when they're holding on to the lights, they're just going to not call you anymore and find out someone else that does it for $99 or $100 or $200, whatever. Very important that you don't let the customers keep the lights. And it's very important that you rent out your lights or lease them to the homeowner. You don't want to be selling your lights to the homeowner, which is probably the number one thing that people do when they do Christmas lights, because it seems like a lot of money to them when they're first starting in the Christmas light world. And so they think that, well, if I'm charging the homeowner this much money, then I should give them the lights. But they don't understand, like, they're probably not going to stay in business running that business model. That business model has been run through many decades, and most of the time it ends up with the company going out of business. There's some companies that do it all right, but most of the big companies, they just rent out the lights.
Do you differentiate that in your contract by saying like these lights are for rent, or you're leasing these? You're not for sale, because I'm assuming there's probably been some customers who think at the end, oh, these are my lights now.
They do. So we put in the contracts when we send it out to them that they agree to that all property is owned by Zimmerman Construction. That's the name of my company. It's hard to get insurance for Christmas light. I own Christmas light installers, but it's very difficult to get insurance just for something that's such a small sliver of the industry. So I'm uninsured under my construction company, but it says that all materials are owned by Zimmerman Construction unless approved in writing or exclusively written in writing. Some along that's the legal jargon that's in our contract.
Commercial jobs too. I see people talking about houses and roof lines all the time, but I don't really see people talking about big commercial building.
Okay, so we kind of run like a nationwide like the contractor group, so network, and so it seems that commercial definitely is a thing, but like if you're in an area that doesn't really do Christmas lights, it's not really a trend yet in your city. It seems it starts residentially, and the bigger residential gets, the more commercial starts to jump into it. So some cities commercial is just huge. But like today, I was just on an estimate, and it was for a municipality. So they had a $20,000 budget. Well, really, it was 15,000, and last year they paid the guys 30,000, and they own all the material and everything. But it took the landscaping team 5 guys for 2 weeks, and there's 30,000. I was like, man, I can't do that for that. That's just not. Like, you don't have to buy any material. I was like, it's just for this time of year, I can't dedicate 5 of my guys for 2 weeks for a city job. I knew. So anyways, we're trying to work on a budget with them. But yeah, there's big money in commercial. Um, it's just a lot of people don't know how to install it. So you got to get some experience in the residential side first.
You're big in this community. You got a Facebook group, you got a YouTube channel. You're all about like teaching people, right?
Yeah, that's what we are teaching people all the time. So like even this weekend, we have a training in Raleigh, North Carolina in our warehouse with Donovan. He's my partner. But this will be the fourth training he's had there this year. So they got a mini house that they decorate inside his warehouse. So you can
Oh,
get
there's a mini
practice.
house in there?
Yeah, they got a
That's
mini house. If you see him on his TikTok, you'll see he's always decorating his little tiny house.
big question. How do you market this? How is some Joe Schmo gonna start getting his first customers?
So Facebook is really a lot of people are just having incredible success on Facebook. That's how I started off. To be honest, Facebook is not as good for higher paying customers. But
Right.
I know guys. I just was working with a guy today that's showing me all these pictures of all these $1 million houses that he's getting estimate requests on for his city, and it's all through Facebook. He's got like 100 leads on Facebook in the last 2 weeks since he started running ads. That's down in Atlanta, Georgia. So you're still going to get some big jobs, but there's a lot of tire kickers on Facebook. But if you just want a lot of leads, you just start posting pictures of your work or some videos of you installing on your own house or one of your customers, and make little short snippets of it and just post it in some of the groups. And you can't ask people, hey, you want a quote? Like they'll kick you out of the Facebook groups. But you can just post pictures like, hey, what do you think about this or something like this, or tip from a pro, something like that. And then people will just naturally start to ask, hey, how much do you charge to do something like that? So
Right.
that's one way. And the number one way probably to get your phone ringing is the day after Halloween. When you start having yard signs out, people will just start calling you. So just very simple yard signs that just say Christmas lights or whatever. We install Christmas lights, whatever. Just something like that. A little $3-4 yard sign. You put them out in busy places or in front of jobs that you've done, and you'll get a lot of calls that way.
Oh, okay, cool. And then, so if you don't have any customers, you can do your own house and pretend like you're doing someone's house.
Yeah, and plus you'll get practice before you're actually on some customer's house, and they start to figure out you don't know what you're doing.
Right, right.
And here's another thing. Christmas lights is not for someone that's scared of heights. We have people buy lights from us and then return them because they said it turns out they're scared of heights. Christmas lights can be dangerous. That's something you really got to think about. So you can do most of it all from ladders, but yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to do from a ladder.
Any other things that I didn't ask? Any tips or anything to share out to the community?
The big thing is Christmas lights. People are seeing guys like me and some of the like big leaders like on social media that are doing Christmas lights right now, and they feel bad that they can't get any jobs right now. Well, like I'm installing all my old customers right now. I'm not installing new customers. Like it's very difficult to get new customers who want lights up right now. So if you can get any customers right now and they'll agree to install the day after Halloween, you're really doing well. So, but the second that after Halloween, everything changes. Like people just want lights. So, and the big thing is your first year, you're not gonna, there's stories of people making six figures their first years. We have quite a few in our group that have, but that's not normal. That's if they're living in a very densely populated area and they have a high per capita income. Those two things really can help make sure that you can have a successful year if you know how to market. But if you don't know how to market, you're going to have a tough time. Christmas lights is a luxury service, and you just have to remember that. So when people try to make you feel bad about your pricing, like this is a luxury service. It's not for everyone. So if they want to hang it themselves, like you're not trying to compete with that. So you can't. You're trying to find the customers that are willing to pay. It's just I am always talking to people trying to help them not feel bad for charging more than $200 or $300 for installing Christmas lights. So it's just that's what a lot of people think that's what they should charge, because it's really hard to run a business only charging $200 or $300, even though it only takes you an hour to install someone's lights.
Can you put flyers in people's mailboxes? Is that allowed?
No, that's a federal offense.
Is
You
it?
can put so I have magnets that I put on their mailbox. Those work. Also, I've had flyers and I'll put them. You can actually pay services that will charge whatever 10 cents or whatever, and they'll make the flyer. Like if you go on Vistaprint, you can get flyers made there, and there's actually an option where you can have them do what EDDM, every door direct mail, and you can pick a neighborhood and they'll put it in all the mailbox there. But if you do something like that, you got to do it 3 or 4 times in the same neighborhood. But also you can drive around if you've got more time than money, and you can place your flyers inside of people's newspaper things that are usually on the mailbox.
Newspaper things. Okay. All right, Fred. Thanks for coming on. And again, everyone, he's got a YouTube, he's got a TikTok, he's got a Facebook group, and ChristmasLightContractorsUSA.com. It's all down there, so go ahead and check it out. But Fred, thanks for being on, man.
All right, you take care.
All right, man. Thanks for being on.
Yep.